growth in this industry is phenomenal. You know, it's orders of magnitude in the space of years, and the supply chain simply just cannot catch that. There is other features to it. Do the supply chain have confidence, sufficient confidence to make the investment in building capacity? That's questionable, and I suspect those problems would exist right across the piece at the moment with the global economic conditions. But you can easily see that the size of the prize that's coming is large, and supply chain will eventually get there. It's probably happening slower than we'd like. The lead out of recession is likely to come from this area, and that's such a great news. And so therefore people are getting ready, aren't they? I mean, and people are starting to get themselves prepared, getting positioned for this next big move, really, which is really quite exciting. In terms of the offshore wind industry in the UK, for example, it's people are now setting themselves up. They're looking to make sure that they're positioned in the right place to catch the move, and that sort of means between 3 and 5 years from now, that decisions will be made and positions would get called. And of course, the move from that point onwards is extremely fast. You know, once it does move, it has to move very fast, because what we're talking about is scale, and scale doesn't happen in small incremental steps. It'll take forever. This is about things really dramatically moving in the space of a few years. What has been fueling cost increases recently has been over demand, essentially, or the supply-demand imbalance, clearly. And I think that will come back over the next couple of years. But what you do know is that the demand is coming back. I wouldn't be too concerned about fundamental costs, because ultimately, when you're considering clean energy, you're considering, so what's the alternative? And that's hydrocarbons. And hydrocarbons are facing a very uncertain future in terms of pricing. Volatility will come back into the hydrocarbon market in no time at all, 2 or 3 years. And, you know, we could easily be seeing over $100 barrels again in that time scale, and potentially, you know, $200 barrels just imminently possible. The private equity and the private money supply side is clearly taking an absolute hammering. Now, to get to this next level that clean energy needs, it really is likely to involve a public-private partnership of some sort, where public money is put to bear, maybe in a seed-corn sort of or venture capital type way, and then the private sector is de-risked and they can step up to the plate, and that will rebuild the monetary cycles that we've been suffering with recently. Where government has to step up, they've done a reasonably good job at setting out policy and sort of given directions of travel with regard to, for example, energy mix in their policies. Where there is a bit of a struggle is, so how do we translate those sort of directional sort of views into reality? And that is something where, because the governments, the UK government, other international governments are sort of accelerating the market conditions for which would need to be there to respond to policies. They really do need to do something more about getting in and helping that acceleration. So that means de-risking front-end investment in those sort of risk areas which the market wouldn't normally take if it wasn't for some policy for renewables, for example, standing there.